I remember spending literally hours in Zbrush doing all the edges, all the cracks, all the rocks details. And since I make it in Houdini, I never went back to Zbrush to sculpt manually some stones. Everything is procedural, so you can change the shape, make some tests, iterate, and you don't have to redo it again. That's the beauty of the procedural stuff. Basically, you can just decide to change stuff. Let's say we want a higher wall, it will update automatically. We want a thinner ring or maybe a bigger ring. I can change my shape and just wait for my graph to cook. Let's see how we can build this kind of stuff. The graph is separated into several parts. The first step is to create the base mesh. Basically, we will create the shapes, and it relies mainly on Voronoi fracture to create the stones. So let's see how we can create the ring. We use a circle. This circle is proceed several times. We sweep it, then thicken, clip and polyfill to create the main shape, and then we will create two different shapes, mirror them and use some booleans to create the inner shape and the outer shape as well, and then boolean all together, and remesh to create the main shape. So to split it into several stones, we use our circle. So we convert the circle into a line, then clip it and scatter a few points on it. These points will feed into a Voronoi fracture to split the mesh into different pieces. We can see them here. If we change the count or change the seed, we have a different way of splitting the mesh. And then we remesh everything, because otherwise the inside the mesh all the cuts will just have one polygon. So we just remesh to get an even mesh everywhere. And we can as well, at this stage, we can play with the smoothing to get more erosion or more sharp stones if we want. The second part is not fully procedural because I drawn this by hand to make it quicker. We can totally make it procedurally, but here it's just drawn. So I template my mesh, go to front view, and then just draw some points to create the line. And with this line, we will fuse the points, extrude, reverse to get the normals in the right direction, and fill to get a plain mesh. And we will need to subtract the ring, so we will get the sweep and the circle, extrude them and boolean them together, make a union boolean from the two, and then make a boolean subtraction to the wall to get only the side parts. So it's procedural. So now we can change shape, edit the wall as we want. So we can now make some iterative changes to check, to make some designer research, adjust the model if we want. So here we have the base mesh, and like I said, we can just change the scale, change various parameters to get different shapes. Once we have this, it's time for us to apply some edge damage. There is some way to apply edge damage, and there is some tools in Houdini to make this, but I have a very simple way to do it and very efficient, especially on this kind of low poly mesh, because to make stylized rendering, it's often better to have some kind of medium resolution object. So here I process every stone inside the loop and apply an edge damage effect. So to do so, we will take the object on one end, and on the other side we will apply another remesh to play with the smoothing to erode the stone. Then apply a bit of inflation with a peak node and a bit of randomness with mountain, and then boolean the two here, a boolean intersection, to basically keep the mesh that is shared between the two parts. And we can play with the inflation to adjust the amount of the effect. And in the end, we got this, and it's pretty cool and pretty fast, because this way it's very efficient and fast, because we can still edit almost in real time the parameters, and everything updates smoothly in the viewport. I enclosed my loop, my for each loop. I enclosed this into a compiled block here. The yellow block are a compiled block. Once in the compiled block, we can turn on the multi-thread when compiled, and all of this, instead of being computed on one single thread, it can be computed in parallel, so it's much more quicker. In the second part, I voxelize everything and clean the mesh, because actually it's very blocky. So we will start with a bit of optimization. We just simply poly reduce a bit and then make a remesh grid. This way I voxelize and sharpen to make this base shape, and remesh again to smooth a bit the result. Otherwise the polygons, the triangles will be very visible, so by doing this you basically erode the underlying mesh. So now we have something a bit more natural, and then we process into two noises paths. I encourage you to name everything in your graph, because otherwise when you go back to your graph it's easy to get lost in your artwork. So here I got the cracks. Here I have an attribute noise, because I don't want my noises to be applied the same way all across the object, so I use an attribute noise. I create a mask attribute, because in the mountain node here I can blend using an attribute, using the mask here. So instead of applying to everywhere on the object, it's blended between the 0 and 1 values of the attribute noise here. So it makes the noises more natural. Then after this first pass of noise, that is basically some cracks made with a whirly, I completely remap this, because if you use it, if I reset it, if you use linear here, you see almost nothing. And with my setup, basically I search and I remap the values, and basically you can make a wide variety of effects just remapping your noises. Here you can see I isolate some values in the noise to get a specific effect, and it could be cool, yes, to get some cracks effect just like this, but it's very tricky to get them right. And I had as well a second part to add some kind of flake holes like this. For this one it's very simple. I remap it again, but very simply, and it's just an alligator noise with a very small element size, and we can get some kind of shape like this. We can as well invert it to get sometime I can use it for some moss effect or this kind of stuff. And so that's it. That's what we got at the end. And the final stuff, the very final step, because usually I use Houdini to create game assets, so I like to preview all the assets will be rendered in the game engine. So I add a bit of vertex color with curvature and ambient occlusion and blend them to preview how the asset could look. If you have any question, just drop a comment below and subscribe if you liked it, and stay tuned for more videos. Goodbye.